The drivers too wide. The flag waves, and we are racing at Nashville. Allgaier got the early jump. Trevor Bayne slipped in second. Brad Coleman third.
See Paul Menard trying to work that high side.
Good luck.
Yeah, you know, we saw more passing on the outside here back in April than what we'd seen here in the past. I think it has a lot to do with this tire.
Yeah, I just saw Josh Wise, a 7 car, to get way up high and turn forward. Lost a lot of ground down the front stretch.
We should note that Willie Allen in the 05 has to sit for a couple of laps because of unimproved adjustments after qualifying, and he is still sitting on pit road. A lot of folks keeping an eye on Allen because he's a Nashville driver. There's Lagacy having some problems in the 43.
Yeah, that high groove's just not going to be there right away. They're going to have to actually work it up slowly. You're not going to be able to just jump up on the outside and pass cars.
Jason Leffler running fourth with Carl Edwards taking a peek inside. There's Leffler on the outside and Edwards down low.
You see Mike Bliss there too, trying to make it 3 wide possibly.
Well, Mike Bliss looks aggressive early right here.
Willie Allen now rolling in the 05. We made note of the fact that he had to sit for the first 2 laps. There's a battle for second with Bayne and Brad Coleman poking underneath.
Brad Coleman's going to do a good job in this car tonight. This guy has a lot of talent. He hasn't been in a race car in quite a while, but when you get in a car this good, I think all of that feel comes back pretty quickly.
How much of an advantage is it that he's getting the opportunity to work with Jason Ratcliffe again as crew chief, who he had worked with in 2007? Now we've got a crash. Coleman, Presley,
all right here.
among those involved.
There you go. All right.
See, Michael
When you get
McDowell's
clear
got
there,
some
you can come
damage.
on down. I think we got hit in the left rear a little
Looks
bit.
like Coleman Presley's going to be all right. He's got a little damage to it.
Presley in the 88. Saw McDowell in the 81. McDowell, one of the 4 drivers doing double duty here this weekend. And there's the 16 of Eichler, Brian Eichler.
Well, Jack Roush's team's just not having any luck.
So Eichler gets damage on lap 5. Ricky Stenhouse missed the show tonight.
He spun out qualifying.
Yeah, 16's been way up underneath somebody there to have the damage that far back on the hood.
That usually looks like somebody where you've driven up right under the back end. Or maybe Coleman Presley. See the damage on the back of Coleman Presley's car.
See Coleman up high there.
Oh,
yeah, it just gets away from him.
Boy, Josh Wise just got underneath and out.
Points leader just goes by Brad Keselowski right on the outside.
Yeah, it looks like the 16 car must have gotten underneath the 81 of McDowell. Trying to avoid this. You see McDowell now run the high groove. Now he's looking for a place to go.
Watch it from the view of Brad Keselowski and his onboard.
Think about when you win championships and things that happen. Those are things right there that you'll look back and say, man, we dodged a bullet.
Brian Keselowski, his brother, also dodged it from the inside. Justin Allgaier, your early leader. Brad Coleman, second. Trevor Bayne, third here at Nashville. For the restart, Allgaier on the inside, Brad Coleman on the outside, and we're green. Trevor Bayne gets in there for that second spot. Bayne has been strong all weekend long. He and crew chief Jerry Baxter have been a very good combination. They seem to practice well. They get solid spots in qualifying, and then the race comes and they don't have much luck.
Well, that's part of the learning curve for the driver. I mean, these guys are good as far as Jerry Baxter and the crew. They know how to adjust his car, but he needs to be able to tell them what they need and predict what the car is going to do. And you only do that with experience. You can't do it without having that experience and knowing what the car is going to do.
Because he's not positive exactly what he needs either. You know, what it's going to take to run 300 miles here and be competitive all night long. As soon as he figures that out, then he's able to give a little bit more information each and every week.
Scramble there for 15th place. The 62 have gone. That's Brad Keller in the 35, Michael Annett in the 15. Or Jason Keller, I should say, and Michael Annett in the 15. Keselowski running 16th, but the man in the front has been unchallenged so far. That's Justin Allgaier. He leads at Nashville.
While we run mostly single file at the front of the pack, we'll mention Carl Edwards passed Trevor Bayne for third spot. Let's get you up to speed and updates on some of the leaders, starting with Shannon.
Well, Alan, your pole sitter, Justin Allgaier, has not looked back since the start of the race. It is a great car. He says he is just cruising. Last week at Charlotte, Allgaier had his best finish in 7 races, and they are really riding that momentum here this weekend. Allgaier turns 24 tomorrow, and he's having a great birthday weekend. Jamie.
And 22-year-old Brad Coleman running second. He started second. Jason Ratcliffe just came over the radio and said, all right, so what's your problem? Anything with the car? And Brad said, I'm trying to figure it out. It's pretty neutral. It's pretty good. Shannon?
Carl Edwards currently running third right now on the racetrack. Crew chief Drew Blickensurfer told him, pay attention to how the racetrack is changing as the sun starts to go down. The car was super loose, according to Carl, when they started the race. Right now, it's still on the loose side. Carl Edwards, one of your multiple winners here at Nashville, right now racing on the track. Doc?
Back and forth, you guys talked about the steep learning curve for the 19-year-old Trevor Bayne. It was 1 year ago he made his debut here in the Nationwide car. He qualified second that day, but hustled the car so much early on he spun and made contact with the wall. Today, he qualified second, showing amazing patience with a car that's loose in and loose off, but will get better as the day goes on. Shannon.
Well, Doc, while many teams chose to take younger drivers for their cars, KHI decided to go with a veteran driver, Mike Bliss, behind the wheel right now. Spoke with Ernie Cope this morning. He told me, we've tried the younger drivers and it didn't work. We wanted to put someone in the car that we felt could win the race. Mike Bliss was their guy. Jamie?
And right behind him, Jason Leffler continues knocking them off one at a time, moved up to 6th right now. Car has been great all weekend. Short runs, long runs, up high, down low. He said he feels like they can get the win, saying the car is really tight right now, but the spotter telling him, your entry is beautiful. Shannon?
Paul Menard qualified for this race 10th. That was after he didn't even set up the car. Colin Brown was actually in the car for practice because Paul Menard was in Pocono for the Cup Series. The car was so good, crew chief said they ran very few laps in practice. He said it's easily a top 10 car. It's a little bit snug for Paul Menard right now. Doc?
32 car, Reed Sorensen back in 8th position. How big would a win be for that team here? Their sponsor, Dollar General, is about 27.5 miles from this racetrack in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Back in April, it was Reed Sorensen who started 15th and patiently picked them off to finish second. Now behind him, talking about Nashville teams, how about Baker Curb? They have 2 races left with Scott Wimmer aboard to hopefully attract some attention and get a sponsor. Wimmer is a former winner here at Nashville. He has 9 top 10 finishes in 12 starts here. What better man to put in the seat to try to get something done here tonight? Behind them, Richard Childress Racing, the 21 car. And they are going to a 2-time winner here at Nashville Superspeedway, Scott Riggs. His first win came at this racetrack. His last win in the Nationwide Series came a year later here in the 21 car. A bit free right now, but he thinks the track will come to him over the next 30 or 40 laps. Jamie.
And Big Brad's buddy Matt DiBenedetto right now, 11th, knocking him off. Very consistent right now. He started this race 15th. This is the biggest racetrack he has ever been on, making just his second ever Nationwide Series start. The goal tonight, finish every single lap. His crew chief, Mike Kidd, said, hey, if this kid can finish every lap, he'll be top 10. But we're not telling him that. Car is a little free right now, Doc.
Back in 12th position, how big would this one be for Michael Annette? His sponsor, Pilot Travel Centers, is based in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Haslam family, big-time supporters of motorsports. Michael's family has a huge trucking company. It goes hand in glove. Michael would dearly love to get his first win here in the state where his sponsor is headquartered. Shannon.
Well, Doc, your points leader, Brad Keselowski, slowly making his way through the field. Started this race 24th. He's now running 13th. I spoke with Brad today. I asked him as he goes to the inside of Michael Annette. I asked him how he's going to approach these next 3 weekends, the standalone events. He said, I'm going to do it exactly the way I've raced all year. I still have to be conservative because I am thinking big picture, and that is points. It's not time for me to get aggressive. When I get a good points lead, then I can get aggressive. Alan?
All right, Shannon, so championship leader Keselowski moving up into the top 12, 35 laps in. And Carl Edwards has moved up to second. He's 3 seconds behind the only leader this race has seen so far, Justin Allgaier, out in front, looking for that guitar trophy in Music City.